Hey, what's up, everybody? It's HBCU game day. It is Celebration Bowl week. It is Tuesday. We're getting closer and closer to crowning an HBCU national champion in Division I football. I'm Tolly, Carr, Symone, Stanley. We are in Atlanta. Before we get to the Celebration Bowl, first things first here. You see this right here? You see this? This is an early Christmas gift for Symone. She has shed some tears here lately. I know losing to the Cowboys was a
First of all, I did not shed a single tear. You know,
I just wanted you to have
it's
that.
This the regular season, Tolly. I don't get caught up in the regular season.
Right.
Like my quarterback, Jalen Hurts says, the main thing is the main thing.
Okay,
What I'm going to keep doing.
I just wanted to be emotionally here for you with the Kleenex.
We beat the Cowboys earlier in the season, so I don't get this narrative of like.
Okay. We don't care about your narrative. We just wanted to give you some Kleenex. All right, let's talk HBCU football. Who's going to have some Kleenex on Saturday night because their team did not get it done? Who do you think?
Dang, off the rip.
Off the rip, man. We got to get into it, and then we'll
set the stage,
and then we'll break it out. Who's going to be crying?
I don't think a team is going to – the only team that I think would end up in tears if they lost is Florida A&M because they are the team that was supposed to be here, if anybody's supposed to be here. Howard is playing with house money. Not a lot of people thought Howard University was going to be in Atlanta this weekend. Maybe, they're out here for something else, but they didn't think they were going to be in the bins playing football. So Howard really has not a lot to lose. It was North Carolina Central season all season long. So if Howard loses this game, I would think they would still be holding their head high. But Florida A&M, if they end up dropping this game that they're the heavy favorite in, then they, might need a little tug.
A little Kleenex
tissue.
action. All right, well, let's break it down for the sake of entertainment because we don't take sides. You take the side of FAMU, present to the people out there in America why FAMU is definitely going to win this game, and I'll present a case for Howard.
I think it's going to come down to the trenches. Florida A&M has done a really good job stopping the run this season. They've only per game, they've only given up about 97 yards on the ground. They were the best run defense in the SWAC. They went undefeated in the SWAC. And it's because those big boys they have up front on defense. Now, Howard University, as I'm sure you're going to talk about, is known for their three-headed monster in the run game. But I think Florida A&M would be the team that would be able to stop them and slow them down. I think that would be the key. The run game really helps sets up that Howard University offense and their quarterback, Quentin Williams. If he doesn't have that, it's going to be a long day in the bins. Plus, Florida A&M is used to this big stage, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, NFL Stadium. This is their third time playing in an NFL stadium this season. They started out at Hard Rock Stadium with the Orange Blossom Classic earlier in the season. They played the Florida Classic, and now they're back in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So this is their third NFL stadium this year. So the bright lights, they used to it,
All right, so Howard fans, do not despair. Everyone is telling you you're not going to win this game. So Howard fans, here's what I want you to latch on to. The last two Celebration Bowls, the team that won was not supposed to win. South Carolina State was supposed to get blown out by Jackson State. North Carolina Central, they were supposed to get boat raced by Jackson State. But guess what happened? They played the game and a different outcome occurred than what a lot of people thought. Look, the MEAC is 6-1 in the Celebration Bowl over the SWAC since they started this game in 2015. So let's start with the first thing that Symone said, which I agree with her. It's going to be decided in the trenches. Now, if you look at history, we're not talking about the history of FAMU and Howard because they haven't played in this game. But when you get to the Celebration Bowl, it just feels like everything that you saw during the regular season doesn't happen the same way. Somebody's a little too tight. Somebody's, maybe extra loose, playing with that house money Symone talked about, and it's all about disturbing the rhythm. Now, Jeremy Musa, he was the SWAC Player of the Year. Not quite as accurate as Quentin Williams, the Howard quarterback. So I feel like if the Howard defensive line can disrupt, get Jeremy Musa off of his game, couple 3-and-outs, put a little bit of doubt into the FAMU side, then this guy here you see on your screen, Quentin Williams, can come in, And hey, he can play lights out. This guy has seen a lot while he's at Howard University. He came there. The coaching situation was just a mess. He follows Cam Newton's little brother, thought he was going to be there, behind Kalen and learn a little bit. And Kalen hits the portal. Williams is thrown in there, and he's been one heck of a player outside of Davius Richard. Hey, he's the best quarterback in the MEAC. Throwing for 196 yards per game this season. He's thrown for over 2,100 yards, 60% pass completion, 16 touchdowns this year, only 4 picks. Jeremy Musa has 8 picks. Look, Howard, your error of margin is very thin, very, very thin. But if you can get Musa off his game, maybe a pick here. A couple of those 3 and outs. It's the same thing, Symone, we saw with Jackson State and South Carolina State. It was like, all right, Jackson's going to get rolling. All right, here they come. A turnover. A short field. And South Carolina State was able to take advantage of that. So that is the playbook for Howard University. And I think it is certainly possible that the MEAC can go 7-1 against the SWAC.
Okay. And first of all, I wanted to correct myself. The game against South Florida was at Raymond James Stadium. Yep. So that was their 3rd game in the NFL Stadium. But outside of that, I think that you bring up disrupting Jeremy Musa, which we know you're going to pressure the quarterback. But Jeremy Musa has been under pressure a lot this season. He's played a lot of really strong defenses.
He's been under pressure from his fan base. Every
right,
once in a while,
which is the worst pressure to be under. Like when your fans come for you and you're winning, like imagine that pressure. So he's been under pressure on the field. He's been under pressure on social media. And the FAMU team has shown that they can still win even when the offense isn't going, even when the offense isn't smoking, because it is that FAMU defense that has been the heart and soul of the team this year. They've had some tough games this season going up against some tough defenses like Alabama State. They had a close game against South Florida, and those were games where they closed out. Okay, it was a close game against South Florida. The turnovers kept them out of the game, but they showed several times that they can always put themselves in a position to win. And it's usually the defense that's keeping them in the game. So even if Musa is off his rocker a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because that the Bison, they're going to want to come for him. They came for Davius Richard. Now, I know that was a MEAC game, but the defensive line was saying they never seen a D-line like this. They've never seen a defensive line like this. That's what the Howard defensive line was saying. So I think that it could come down. It could come down to quarterback play, but Musa has shown this season that he can perform under pressure.
So overall, Howard's offense is number 4 in the MEAC, and the MEAC is a higher scoring offense, a higher scoring conference than the SWAC is. So they're used to teams that can put up a lot of points. FAMU's averaging 30.7 points per game. So they're used to that environment of a lot of scoring. And look, Howard has shown that they can put up a 50 burger. They did it against North Carolina Central in their biggest game of the year. Now, here's one thing that I would consider and think about. It's interesting. Neither of these teams have Celebration Bowl demons. So we really, until this season, haven't talked about, these teams in terms of the Celebration Bowl, because the last 2 years, FAMU has been knocked out by Jackson State in the Orange Blossom Classic. And, the storyline was, hey, whoever won that game was probably going to go to the, SWAC championship and on to the Celebration Bowl. So FAMU really, doesn't have a lot of history in the being talked about in the game. They do have history in Atlanta. And Howard, their big thing is they had to get over North Carolina Central, and they started the season, that was the game they were talking about. So this is one of those things where, it's a new experience for both teams. So how are they going to respond being on this particular stage for the first time? ABC, Mercedes-Benz. It's just, Symone, having seen all of the Celebration Bowls, actually, the game just always plays out different on both sides of the ball for both teams than anything they did in the regular season. You see teams, those A&T teams and Alcorn State turned into these crazy shootouts, and you're like, what am I watching? And the year that the SWAC did win, Central, losing to Grambling, it was like a 10-9 game, and Grambling barely won. There was a celebration penalty that moved the extra point back, and the kicker misses that. So you might have it turns out there's like either it's this wild, crazy, high scoring affair, or it's like a 10-9 game.
That is true for sure. But I also think because of now we're seeing this weird pattern and the Celebration Bowl teams are seeing like, oh, anybody can go in and win those games. That's going to help a team like Florida A&M lock in because they've seen Jackson State go back-to-back times, be the favorite, the heavy favorite on that big stage, and see how easily an underdog can come in and win the game. So I think Florida A&M being able to sit back and watch how that has played out the last couple of years, that's going to help them lock in, especially since they felt like they should have been there these last 2 years. Like Florida A&M has been waiting in the wing hungry to get to this stage. So I think that they're going to be on their X's and O's, on their P's and Q's. Now, Coach Willie Simmons was saying in the press conference the other day, he hopes that excitement and that hunger doesn't turn into sloppiness. But,
what's that concert he hopes they don't try to get to tomorrow?
Oh, Rod Wave. The kids love Rod Wave.
You know the today's stars.
Yeah, I like Rod Wave a little bit, but he ain't worth getting to the game late for.
Before the show, over in our lounge area, you didn't know the difference between Boys to Men and Jagged Edge.
Why are you bringing non-show stuff to the show?
But you do know Rod Wave. So hopefully Rattlers, they don't hit that Rod Wave concert on Wednesday. Coach Simmons, tongue-in-cheek, was a little worried about that. I will say this about Larry Scott, though. He has been pushing the message that, hey, you think about Howard, you think about academics, and we're not going to shy away from that. We're going to embrace that. But that does not mean we cannot be the football players that go out there and punch you in the mouth. Not literally, you know the term for football, punching the other team in the mouth. And that's really what he's been pushing on his team this season. And, during yesterday's show on the countdown to the Celebration Bowl, we went back and revisited that preseason video where he was like, hey, we're doing everything different. It's a new day in D.C., and all the players really talked about the difference that Larry Scott has made. So you got two really good coaches here, but this would be really, I hate to use this cliche, but a huge feather in the cap for Larry Scott if he were to come in, take a program that was in disarray heading into COVID with their coaching situation, and take them to a Celebration Bowl within, 2-3 seasons.
Yes, absolutely. Do you think that if FAMU doesn't win the Celebration Bowl, now at the press conference, we had Samuel Crenshaw hosting the press conference last week, and he really made a point to emphasize that, it's a lot of pressure. It's pressure, coach. It's pressure. Before Coach Willie Simmons was able to get on the stage, but Willie Simmons kept emphasizing that the team shouldn't be under any pressure. Do you think it's pressure for Florida A&M to win this game?
Well, I think it's pressure from the standpoint of the MEAC always wins it, and people are just like, all right, somehow the SWAC, no matter how big and bad they are going to find a way to fumble the bag in the Celebration Bowl. But the one thing I did like about what Coach Simmons said is that, look, we've been favorites in every game we played this year except for one. And that was against South Florida, the FBS program. And they came in and won. So they've kind of felt that pressure. Anytime you're expected to beat somebody, it can be a little easy not to be as hungry as they are or, pull your punches a little bit, if you will. But they've lived up to that. And they embrace and, really say, hey, we deserve everything that has come our way because we work for it. SWAC Offensive Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, most all SWAC selection. So they really embrace that, hey, we are the big dog, and they've taken that on. So that's something that seems to be working in their favor. But again, when you get to the Celebration Bowl, it just feels different for everybody. It's a different type of vibe. It's a different type of stadium. It's a different type of, TV broadcast, and the game that plays out in front of you just feels different as well and looks different in a good way.
So you mentioned the record, the MEAC dominating the Celebration Bowl 6-1 over the SWAC. So we asked both coaches at the Celebration Bowl about that. Is it something to it? Is it just, a happenstance? And both coaches were pretty much saying they're not buying into the MEAC having any type of advantage over the SWAC because
somebody put a hex on the SWAC.
Right. Somebody put a hex on the SWAC. The extra rest that the MEAC gets. A lot of people on social media create a narrative that, the MEAC plays.
I do think that's a thing. The SWAC does play that extra game.
But then also players say too, like rest could be rust. You know what I mean? Like you want to keep that momentum going. If you take an extra time off, sometimes that can hurt you.
Do you think Howard was going into the SWAC championship game knowing they were already in the Celebration Bowl? I mean, I don't know how it works. I've never prepared a football team. I would think though that the players at the very least was like, hey, we got to get ready for FAMU.
Yeah. Anybody in the MEAC, the start of the season should have been already prepping for FAMU once the season started. If you gonna get to the Celebration Bowl, we pretty much thought it was gonna be FAMU. I feel like once FAMU locked up the East, then teams, if they were smart, was already starting to, watch some games, get some film on Florida A&M. But yes, they have had more time to prepare. FAMU, was probably looking at Davius all season long, trying to figure out how they could stop Davius Richard. Now they have a different quarterback. So there is a slight advantage there.
I do think that's the thing.
But it's so little teams
I don't think it's
in the MEAC, though.
I think it is a small part of it.
There's so little teams in the MEAC. 5? I thought it was 6.
Maybe, yeah, 5, 6.
Regardless, it was only about 3 teams that were coming out in the MEAC. So the SWAC coaches should have, it's not like they had to prep for 12 teams. If they were smart at the beginning of the season, they were prepping for North Carolina Central, Howard, or Morgan State. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't think it's that much of an advantage. I don't know.
Well, talk about the MEAC. Can we give a quick shout out to our guy, a sometimes contributor when he likes to show up? Just kidding. Our guy Josh, Mr. MEAC, HBCU Nightly. He's having a party this week here in Atlanta. Symone was supposed to host the party. What happened, Symone? What happened?
Well, what happened was, so originally the party was supposed to be Friday at 2.
Yeah.
Now the band thing, y'all know.
Let's put up the graphic of the party.
The ESPN Band of the Year starts at 6 p.m. So I was like, no, his party started at 4, I think, originally on Friday. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oop, how you can have a party at 4 and, all the HBCU people are going to be at the Band of the Year. How's that going to work? And he was like, oh, come out vibe for as long as you can. Then he ended up changing the party to Saturday after the Celebration Bowl. Now, Tolly, we're going to be working all week long, So after the Celebration Bowl, I'm going to be ready to chill, take these Uggs off, relax a little bit, wind down because we've been working all week. I don't know if I can turn the people up like they need to be turned up.
All right, let's put that on the screen one more time because we love Josh. Josh is our dude from HBCU Nightly. If you want to support his event, and we don't ever advertise for free, but Josh, you are our guy. You can go to hbcunightly.com.
You be advertising for free, low key.
What? Let me tell you what I'm about to advertise.
You be having some brands on here that shouldn't be. Kleenex.
Well, I'm going to advertise some of these products that we got on our Shopify store. What you got down there? I guess I'll just rep the Bison for today's episode. I've given you the keys to victory for HU, so that's going to be my prediction. What you working with?
Pillow.
Yeah, you don't travel.
The Rattlers, they ready to go to work.
Oh, they going to work, huh?
Y'all going to sleep.
Oh, we going to sleep and
with the
Rattlers
neck pillow.
Going to work.
The Rattlers, we got this Home Depot looking.
Come on now.
We had this Home Depot.
Let me step into the shot.
This that Home Depot.
No. This is twofold, right? If you're at the cookout, you're at the tailgate, that's your grilling apron. If you like to work in the yard, you don't want to get your clothes dirty, you can use it there, kind of a smock looking, we got it for you.
If you're painting.
Whatever. If you want to represent your school, go to our Shopify store and you can check out these products. We got some coffee mugs. Look, I got you. I got your Howard coffee mug over there. Got you a FAMU one. Got you a Jackson. Look, we working for you, Symone.
Okay.
So check it all out. And I know you still, look, you're doing your Christmas shopping, right? But after Christmas, that's when you go get what you want for you. When you get your little gift cards and your Christmas money. So check us out.
Not your little gift card.
We'll put the link down to our Shopify store. I'm really looking forward to it. Looking forward to you visiting and supporting. All right, Symone, is it a vibe yet? Are you feeling it? Are you starting to feel the Celebration Bowl spirit?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not feeling the vibe yet.
Not yet? It's still early.
It's still early.
I'm sure it's gonna be a good game.
And especially once we get to the Band of the Year event on Friday, we'll be out at the tailgate, you know. We're going to be at the tailgate lit. We're going to be playing little games with the people at the tailgate. One Gotta Go, HBCU edition. 3 things that HBCU fans love.
And you're going to make them pick.
Has to go.
Oh,
yes.
All right.
So once we get out in the field, you know, the vibes will start flowing.
All right. I know you guys have a good time there. All right. Shout out to Miles and Kobe back in the studio for making things happen back there. She's Symone Stanley. I'm Tolly Carr. We are counting down to the Celebration Bowl. We'll be back with you. Really cool guest coming up on Wednesday. Big radio voice. A guy you'll recognize from the radio.
Who?
It's called a tease, Symone.
It's called Let Them Know So They Come Back.
It's called a tease. You know, sometimes people don't show up though, so you know we might have to shuffle them in and out. People be busy, but looking forward to Wednesday's show. Make sure you hang out with us right here at HBCU Game Day and HBCUGameDay.com. Why are you laughing?
Because you always do that face when you about to start. You said, go ahead, lock in. Come on.
You talking about lock in? You the one cutting up off the top.